More of our conversation with the great Charlie Manuel. So, Skip, you come to Philadelphia, and when did you realize that, you know what, we're going to be able to win here? When did you realize that you felt it? And of course, you made sure that you brought Tommy here as a bridge, your other adopted son.
Yeah, actually, when I first came over to Philly, I worked in the minor leagues, and I got to see all of our players, and we had Utley, we had Myers, we had Matson, we had
Ryan Howard.
We had, Ryan Howard. Yeah. We had Chooch. We had all these guys down there, and players that I liked. And I thought, when I watched the Phillies play, I always felt like they definitely needed relief pitching, and they needed another starter or two. And I thought to myself, well, Matson can he could have one of those roles. And then but I want to say like in May or June, when Cole Hamels was supposed to pitched in Lakewood,
yes.
First game he pitched, 7 innings. I thought he was ready for the big leagues right then, and I knew he was going to. I could tell you right now, Cole was going to be a winner because he's smooth and he had it, and he was.
He had good flight in him too. Remember, he got the fight, some bar fight or whatever. He was picking up, and I always remember thinking, I love this kid because he's got great stuff. Lefty, threw hard for lefty. But he also had a lot of fight in him. Like the kid had fight in him.
Right. Yeah. But then I remember Bo was managing the Phillies, and when I looked at his team, I knew that they needed pitching in both categories, bullpen and the starters. So but on the field wise, they had a pretty good team. They had Bobby Abreu. They had Pat Burrell.
Yeah.
Of course, we had Utley in the minor leagues too coming. I don't want to leave Utley out. But anyway, when I looked around and I watched them practice and watch them play and things like that, and I thought, the team can win. I know they could win if when Bo was manager, if he would had a stronger pitching, he would have a chance. Had a chance to win, really. And when you win, that takes care of everything.
Yeah.
So I got t-shirts out like winning takes care of everything.
That's right.
Really, baseball for me has been. I don't know if it's been timing or what it is, but my career, which PHLY, how it started and how it ended. It was great for me. I remember people tell me all the time when I had a pin in my ankle and I couldn't run, the money's on the field, Charlie, and I used to get mad. Killerbrew used to tell me that. I ended up making more money than they did, and they would receive stupid star players. So really, how you look at it is where it goes. But you got to be I got a lot of faith in my ability to project project
I was about to bring this up. You're always right about players.
I want to tell you something. Somebody said, remember one time Pat Gillick made a statement to me, like I was telling somebody I could help hit him because I wanted to get him. And he says, well, if you can hit, you can hit. I said, nah, bullshit. I said, so you're telling me you don't believe in teaching some guy how to hit the ball? And in the minor leagues for 10 years, that's what I did.
Yes.
That's how I got to the big leagues.
Yes.
I got the big leagues by teaching somebody who wanted to hit the hit, really.
Well, you always had an eye for players. We've, over the years, last 20 years, you and I have been talking, and there's been a million players. So you go, watch this kid, and you might see something in Hitchener's swing, approach, and you get the fix, and all of a sudden, that kid who did nothing, all of a sudden is on a tear, and it goes back to that. I'm surprised Gillick would say, that
I
you know?
remember him saying that. And I didn't. I thought to myself, "But Jesus Christ, don't tell me you can't." I do. We were doing it every year.
Sure.
No, but
Oh, look what you did when you were in
the best
Minnesota.
thing about it, Anthony, was I got to hit with him.
Yeah, you loved it. You loved it.
I used to take BP with him, my team, man. That's the only reason I wanted to be a manager.
Keeps you around the game. Well, what was the team when you managed? I guess it was the Twins in the Twins organization.
Yeah,
you were managing in Wisconsin.
Yeah,
and you had that amazing comeback.
Yeah, right. We started the season like 9-27. And we were like, at one time we was like 20-some games out of first place. Appleton was in first place. And the end of the year, at the draft, we got Mike Trout, dad, Jeff Trout.
Yes, yeah.
He had 352 for us. But that's the only thing we did. And on the last series of the year, we played Appleton. And we went ahead. We beat them on Saturday, and went ahead of them a half a game, and they beat us on Sunday, and we was finishing second. But we came with the same players. We kept it same thing.
Well,
but
it goes back to your values, which is to teach
back,
the game.
If you go back, look, I managed 10 years in the minor leagues, and I think for 8 of the 10 years, the second half of the season, we always improved, and we took off, and everyone. I'm very proud of my minor league guys too, because I've seen a lot of improvement, and we got a lot of guys to the big leagues.
Well, and then when you're in Cleveland, you are the hitting coach of that epic. That was one of the greatest teams ever, the greatest lineups ever, right? I mean, you had Tommy, Manny Ramirez.
Kenny Lofton, Albert Bell, Eddie Murray, Sandy Alomar,
Robbie Alomar,
Robbie, and we had what's the left-hand hitter? Paul Sorrento hit third.
Paul Sorrento,
for stuff like that. But also on that one team, we had 8 300 hitters that had over 400 some at bats. We had 8 players. We had guys sitting on the bench like Giles Burnitz and
right, Jeremy Burnitz. That's right.
Winfield.
We're still on the bench.
Winfield and these guys. And hey, let me tell you something. We don't win nothing if we couldn't hit.
Well, and they were your guys, right? Like they were like Albert Bell. And I remember being around that team.
Yeah.
Albert Bell and Eddie Murray, they hated the media, right? Like they hated the press. You guys beat the Yankees. Do you remember? You remember that? You beat the Yankees, and I covered the series. I remember walking in your clubhouse, right? And I was supposed to cover like you guys, right? While our other writer was doing the Yankees, and those guys hated the press. Like they hated it, and they loved you. I remember talking like it was funny. You didn't even know it because you and I were talking, and then. Eddie Murray, who hated the media, would because I was talking to you, you liked me. He talked to me, so like I actually got it because of you.
Yeah. I locked it right over. Eddie was in the corner of his meeting in Manny, and they put me there because Manny was young and and I had to take care of him. And I used to beat him up every day. We used to wrestle like little kids, really. I remember, and we was in Randy Johnson was pitching the day that we clinched in Seattle in the playoffs. And Manny comes in the cage. He's a little boy, like he's 20 years old, but actually he's 10. And he's laughing, giggling, and he says, "I no hit today." I said, "What?" He says, "Nah, I no hit today. I don't want to hit today." I said, "You're going to hit." He said, "No, I'm not, Poppy." And I grabbed him and threw him down, was holding him down. "You're going to hit, aren't you?" Hey, really? You know what was funny about that was? I got older and Manny got stronger, and he could stay with me after. I quit messing with him when he got stronger.
That's awesome. Well, but that fun-loving way that you have is what made you a great manager. I'll never forget, like, people would talk about age, right? And to me, age was never an issue about relating to ball players, right? It was demeanor, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you're 50, 40, or 70, you relate to ball players.
Yeah, I can still tell someone's working nowadays in baseball. If I tell them things that I did, they look at me and say, "Oh, you didn't do it." Well, I didn't do it. I was in charge. It was my job. I did it. You know, like whatever I wanted, you did. Basically, our team, we were a team, and they trusted me and they believed in me. And no way ever. Never, if I lie to you, I'm not going to do it. I'll let you fire me before. Really. But you can ask our players. All the players we had, they know I liked them.
Yeah.
They were my guys.
And I think they felt that, they respected that.
Yeah.
They trusted. I mean, you know how it is. Like that sort of thing is about trust. By the way, this portion of the program brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook Casino app. Download it today. All your best stuff right there on the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. Trust. It's so much about that. I'll never forget when you threw Dallas Green, God rest his soul. You threw Dallas out of your office. You went, "This is my office, all right? Let me tell you." What was that? That was a great story.
Yeah. He got on radio and he kind of we were struggling at the time, and he made some statements that weren't good, and and I confronted him about it, and everything said I meant it, and eventually he walked back in my office to talk. Pat Gillick told me, said, "You got to talk to him." I said, "Okay, I'll talk to him." Of course, he wanted to talk. And when he come to my office, I told him how it was going to be. And I told him, I said, "I don't need you doing nothing. You have nothing to do with my team."
I mean, I remember you saying, "You're like, listen, we got a problem if you overstep." But I think first of all, he loved you in the end. He loved you.
Well, I've always had respect for him. I remember when he played managed Yankees and the Mets and things like that. I've never, but I was mad.
Sure.
And he said some things that I thought was definitely wrong. So I confronted him on him, and really.
The best is you offered him out.
Yeah,
you offered to fight him.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I would have fought him.
Yeah. I remember that, and sometimes the hardest thing about it is when you know something and you're right, and somebody's telling you sitting there, if he might be your boss or something. Yeah. And he'll be telling you what he wants done, and we got to do this, and we got to win, and stuff like that. And you, when I look at him, well, we ain't gonna win if we could do that, right? And stuff like that. And he looks at me, so yeah, well, we're not going to win when we're going to do that. And when all of a sudden you get in an argument and things like that, and then actually those arguments they build up, and when your team starts struggling, you'll be gone. But you got to face that, and that's part of the game of baseball. And it's to me, it's in principle and integrity, stuff like that comes into play. And really, I can be a manager or something, whatever, but I got to live with myself. Well, you always had your players' backs in that way. We talk about you would argue with Gillick. I remember those stories. You had no fear because you're like, listen, I'm not doing anything for a job. I'll always get a job.
Right. Yeah, I always thought if I did my job right, then I'd have a job. I always felt I looked at that way, really.
But I also think the players, and I think that's why this city, right? Of all the people that have come through, and so many great Phillies and sports figures, the reason why I think you have a special relationship with the fan base here is because of what you said.
Right.
You're honest.
Right.
Like there's, you speak from the heart, and this is a town that is speaks from the heart.
I'll tell you about story about Ruben Romero. I traded for Ruben Romero. He was in AAA with Vancouver, I think, and I traded for him. And the reason I traded because Manny was young.
Yeah.
And we was planning on sending Manny back out to AAA baseball for another year. And Ruben was going. Him and Wayne Kirby were going to.
Wow, Wayne Kirby! I forgot about him.
Wayne Kirby. I got Wayne Kirby too. In Cleveland, I could definitely sit in on all the trades. I had that happen, and every player we got, and that's one. And in my baseball career, that's one of the most happy. Was about 12 or 13 players that was happy. Made me happy because they were in the big leagues 8-10 years, minor leagues 8-10 years, and never seen the big leagues. All of a sudden, they get to the big leagues and they stay like 8-10 years, get major league pension and things like that.
That's fantastic.
Kirby was one of those guys.
Wow.
I took Wayne Kirby. I took him. He'll tell you, I'm bragging, but I'm not demeaning me. But I took Wayne Kirby. And he couldn't hit nothing. And then all of a sudden he's hitting 340, 350 in triple, and he got triples. Even hit 15, 6 home
I remember
runs.
it. All of a sudden he started to be able to hit home runs. He had some pop in it.
Yeah.
Well, it goes. Well, also the GM John. Who's the GM with the Indians?
Hart.
John Hart. And I remember how much he always asked your opinion.
Yeah, right.
He would always run stuff by you.
We get when Ruben, when he joined our team, I used to work out. I'd go to the ball. He's a switch hitter. He was the 24th or 25th fifth guy on our team.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'd go with him, especially on the road. I'd take him to ballpark like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and he would hit for like 2 hours or something like that. And I would throw it to him, and I threw hard too. And from both sides of the little plate, he worked left hand, right hand, and hit. He didn't get to play much, but when he did, he won. Definitely, he won 3 or 4 games for us when he got to play, really, and which was good.
Yes.
It's like Walter Austin told me one time. I looked up and he told me, he says, I don't care what you hit. He says, as long as you help us, if you get 2 or 3 hits a year, help us. And if everybody on our team that sits on the bench says we'll win.
Listen, but that's smart. That's wisdom.
Exactly. But Ruben, he played good for us.
He did play well. Let me ask you, because we'll skip around a little bit, and Rube, to this day, I talked to him not long ago about it. We were talking, one of his hardest days ever was when he had to let you go.
Yeah. Well, I think at the Phillies, actually, I thought I was getting too old. I was at 70. I think I turned 70 or something.
Yeah.
And that was actually, but they're really now I look back, that's when analytics really started getting in the game.
Yeah.
And they got rid of Bobby Cox and got managers like this, and the old guys and things like that. Like really, so the young guys that working now, the young players, if I would try to coach them like I used to, nah, no chance. Really.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, though, you adapted.
Yeah.
Like what I think the Phillies didn't see. And by the way, let's talk about this for a second, but the roster was completely done.
Right.
Like that.
Right.
At that point, I talked to you that Easter, I don't know if you remember.
Right.
You guys were in Pittsburgh. It was Easter Sunday. You called me. It was like 6, 7 o'clock, and you go, I go, what do you think, Skip? And you're like, I think I got a bunch of leprechauns.
Yeah, right.
You're right. That was Ben Revere playing center field. right? Ben Revere.
Exactly,
When they acquired Ben Revere, we were looking for a bat. And I said, Ben Revere, you go, I think he's going to be a fourth and fifth outfielder.
Right.
And he winds up having to start for you.
Exactly.
Like you had no power. Ryan, it's a shame, but that's when Ryan Howard had the infection in his calf and his leg. And I mean, you guys were. It wasn't your fault.
Yeah. But I think they look at it. I was 70 years old, somebody did. It's baseball.
Right.
That's baseball.
Right.
What happens when they start? They ain't going to fire somebody out of front office. They're going to fire the manager.
Yeah.
He's the guy that was. But most of the time they'll find out. Used to fire all the coaches. Now they don't do it no more. I don't even really want to get into the politics of the game because I could take you back when I was a rookie, when I first started playing in the minor leagues, and I could tell that was before that the black player, like he couldn't eat with us and stuff like that. And he couldn't stay in a hotel.
Wow! Oh my God! So when you got in, I didn't realize segregation.
But they came a long ways.
My God!
I had guys on my team like Pat Kelly, Chuck Witherspoon, Minnie Mendoza. These guys, they were my buddies. They were my friends. They can't go eat with me and stuff like that.
I mean, I can't even imagine.
But the politics in the game, is people don't see it. I mean, and it's kind of like the world nowadays. People, they want to look out for themselves.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, I mean, it's horrible. And you think about, a guy like Willie Mays, and we talk about Jackie Robinson, the Jackie Robinson day, and what those guys had to deal with, and they still, and how amazing those players, how gifted they were, and how strong they were to face, to face, all that adversity and all that hatred and racism.
I came in at the end of that.
Yeah,
but and then today, but it's better, much better today.
Right.
Much better, of course. But at the same time, back then, that's when I first started seeing the politics in the game.
Yeah.
When my guy told me one time, general manager told me that I couldn't bring me to the big leagues at that time because they had to have rooms, the roommates, and I wouldn't have a roommate.
Are you serious? I mean, how crazy is that? That's insane.
But really,
Oh my God!
Hey, look.
I mean, what you've lived and what you've seen. I mean, it's unbelievable. Sit tight. You need anything? We need water or anything? We got food coming for you. We got all kinds of stuff. This is such a treat as we celebrate the great Charlie Manuel.
We all silly like the mayor.